What's up guys, DCRC back here with another video. Today I'm going to show you guys some Vision Racing products that I use almost every single time I hit the track. Let's get into it. We're going to start off the video by showing off the VRP ride height gauges. I use this specific one for my 8-scale electric and nitro buggy every single time I hit the track. I set my ride height at 25, 26, 25 in the front, 26 in the back for Texas high bite tracks. But yeah, I use this literally every single time I hit the track. This is part number VRP 1362. It ranges from, as you can see, 22.5 millimeters on the back to 30 millimeters, and it simply works by magnetism. So it has a magnet there and then a magnet on the inside of this, and you just clip it in, spin it until it clicks. As you can see, it's locked in, and then you can change it, clicked in. And so yeah, super simple, easy to use. I've never had this fall off unless I pull it off, so like I've never had it fall off in my box or anything. Here's the truggy gauge. This is part number VRP 1366. It goes from 37 millimeters to 45. This is great for any truggy that's out there on the market. When I run my truggy, which is not very often, but when I do, I use this ride height gauge. It's very easy, just like the buggy one. Comes off. The magnet's a little bit harder because it's a larger magnet. But yeah, just clips on, locks into place, and there you go. The prices for these are, the 8-scale buggy one is $30, the truggy is $40, and if you want to go for 10-scale, which I'm not sure what the ranges are for heights, but if you want the 10-scale one, it is $25, and that is part number VRP 1364. Let's get on to the next thing. Here's the VRP Pro Droop Gauge for 8-scale buggies. I use this, again, every single time I hit the track. It's just super easy to just put on the car and hit the track. It's very simple to use. This just locks on the top of the shock, right there on the nut. And then you measure where the screw, or however your shock mounts on the bottom, you just measure where the middle of that screw is on this measurement gauge, and you can see your shock length very easily. You don't have to like take off your tires, set up blocks on a board and then measure where the hexes are like some people do. That's more precise, but it's not as easy to do on, say, club races and stuff. So this is super easy to just put on your shock and measure it really quickly. This specific one is a prototype, or it was a prototype, so it's a thicker and harder to read than the production ones. So if you're looking at this and saying, wow, that's really thick, don't worry, they're not all like this. If you buy one from the website, it will not be this thick, and it'll be easier to read just by lining up these measurements to the shock on the other side. This is part number VRP 1356, and it is $22 on VRP's website. The next tool I use is the Camber link adjustment tool. This is a 6 millimeter, as you can see, for the front of my HB 1/8 scale buggies. They have a lot of different ones, so I'm not going to name a part number or price since there are many different ones, but I will leave the link to the website so you can check these out in the description. But yeah, very easy to use, and since it's a little bit, as you can see, angled, if your link is in a weird spot, you can just flip this over to make it easier to get to, and so you're not trying to put your hands into an awkward spot onto the car. And it is very thick. I've never had it bend. As you can see, I've used it for some time, but yeah, never had it bend. It still works great, and very happy with this product. The last tool I'm going to show you all today is the VRP shock plier tool. The only thing that I have done to it is change this nut out to a blue nut just to make it match my cars a little bit better. As you can see, it is two pieces, just two pieces identical to each other and then screwed together. It has a shock body plier for 8 scales, for 17 millimeter 8 scale shocks, a 12 millimeter 10 scale big bore shock body, and the shock shafts for some 10 scales for 3 millimeter and 3.5 millimeter, and then for the 8th scale, which is 4 millimeter. You might think that this weird hexagon shape would not grab the shock bodies very well, but it actually grabs it perfectly. It is perfectly measured out to where when you put the shock in it, it's perfect. Like, there's no wiggle in there. Don't worry about the shock body getting dented or anything from squeezing too hard. You'll never have to squeeze it that hard to take the shock caps off or anything. It just fits perfectly right. These holes here, I'm not really sure what they're for, but sometimes I'll use it to set things in. Like if you're soldering, you can set a bullet in there. It makes it really nice just to, you know, have a bullet holder so you're not trying to burn your hand or use pliers, and then, you know, everything can go wrong with that. And then right here you can see that it's just 2 flat spots, which is used to take a shock eyelet and ball and just pop them in. So you just put them in there, smash it in, and your ball pops right in your eyelet. And that can be used with anything, with camber links, shock eyelets, on some cars maybe the shock caps, I don't know, but it works very well. It's just very simple. You have a lot of leverage, you just pop it in there and you're done. So that is a tool that I use every single time that you get eyelets into camber links and shocks. Every time I take apart the shocks, I put the shock body in there. And if I'm building a car for the first time, or changing out the O-rings or whatever, or changing out the shock boot, I will use the shock shaft plier holders to get the eyelet off of the shock. For this tool, it is $26 on VRP's website, and it is part number VRP 1306.